Good, happy Wednesday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, police find large quantities of heroin, cocaine, cash in Salem parking lot. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Score a game-winning drive, AutoFair Volkswagen of Nashua makes it happen during the Super Sale. Now lease a new 2017 Jetta S, just $179 a month with zero down. Or buy it for just $199 a month with zero down, plus make no payments till spring. So if you want a championship deal on a new Volkswagen, AutoFair makes it happen. AutoFairVW.com.
AutoFair makes it happen.
Salem police were called to this IHOP on South Broadway Sunday morning and found a man slumped over the steering wheel of his car in the parking lot, fast asleep.
As they approached the vehicle, they could see plainly on the operator's lap that there was a folded up $100 bill with a brown powdery substance on it, which they immediately recognized was consistent with heroin.
Officers also saw something else in the car.
They could see several other baggies of packaged substance. Some bags were brown, some bags were white, consistent with, through their training, to be either cocaine or heroin.
Captain Dolan says it looked like the man was dividing up drugs for distribution.
There were 29 bags of heroin, suspected heroin seized, 3 large bags and 26 smaller bags. There was one large bag of cocaine and 11 smaller bags of cocaine, and there are also 3 separate prescription pills.
Police also found about $4,500 in cash. 26-year-old Alexander Ruggiero of Sandown was charged with several drug-related charges. Police say Ruggiero did not appear to be impaired and blamed his deep sleep on insomnia. But Dolan says the place he passed out was alarming.
It is scary. It's a restaurant, a family restaurant. It's 11 o'clock on a weekend morning. It's a busy restaurant. There's also several stores in the area, and you have that going on in that area. It's disturbing.
And Salem has already seen 4 drug overdoses in the first 10 days of 2017.
Okay, and there you go on that report. After long and heated hearing, Right-to-Work bill passes first hurdle. Let's take a listen to this video from New Hampshire One News.
There is a major showdown going on right now at the New Hampshire State House over a new push for a right-to-work bill. That is where we find NH1 News political director Paul Steinhauser. He joins us live from the State House. Hello, Paul.
Charlie, we're on the second floor of the State House right outside of Reps Hall here, where the State Senate Commerce Committee was meeting for 5 hours on that right-to-work legislation. It just wrapped up moments ago, and the bill passed with the 3 Republicans on the committee voting for it, the 2 Democrats voting against it.
This is the wrong thing for New Hampshire. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
A standing ovation by those opposed to the New Hampshire Right-to-Work Act, which would allow employees in unionized workplaces to decline to join the union or pay dues or fees. Scores of union workers and others packed into the State House, a show of force as the Senate Commerce Committee held a hearing on the Republican-sponsored bill. The committee's chairman trying to keep order.
Let me first ask those in attendance if we could please refrain from applause and other activities so we can continue to move this forward, including booing.
Some testifying in favor of the bill getting booed.
I've just illustrated how federal and state level laws abuse the freedom of working people to earn an honest living for themselves and their families. Passing right-to-work legislation in New Hampshire will help counterbalance unsustainably high electric energy costs, high business taxes, and high healthcare costs.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Supporters of the measure saying,
This bill will help New Hampshire attract businesses and promote itself as a good place to do business.
No other state in New England has such a law, so the law would unquestionably allow us in New Hampshire to distinguish itself.
And arguing that workers shouldn't be forced to pay union dues.
Do not let one worker be forced to take a dime out of their pocket to work a job.
But opponents pushed back.
Study after study has shown that these laws depress wages and reduce benefits for all workers.
This bill is designed to hurt, hinder, and kill unions.
Republicans appear to have the votes to pass the bill through the full state Senate. The big question, can it get through the GOP-dominated House of Representatives? Now, if it does, Chris Sununu, the first Republican governor in New Hampshire in a dozen years, he says he'll sign it. Live at the State House, I'm NH1 News Political Director Paul Steinhauser.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Yes, we did. Obama says in farewell address, but warns of threats to democracy. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
Wherever you are, Splenda Zero is a fun, easy way to get the perfect amount of sweetness down to the last sip. 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 effort. New Splenda Zero.
President Obama delivering an emotional farewell address tonight, calling on the American people to stay engaged and hopeful, and expressing faith in America's next generation of young leaders. Tonight, we reflect on his inspiring words and the legacy he leaves behind. Here's ABC's David Wright.
Tonight in Chicago, hello Chicago, a hero's welcome for the 44th president. We're on live TV here. I gotta a favorite son of the Windy City, now on his last lap. Yes, our progress has been uneven. The work of democracy has always been hard. It's always been contentious. Sometimes it's been bloody. For every 2 steps forward, it often feels we take 1 step back. Fitting that Barack Obama should give the last speech of his presidency here. I can't do that. Chicago is the city that launched him. A junior senator on the rise. His hair darker, his kids younger. Hello, Chicago! Hopes raised so high he was practically destined to disappoint. The audacity of hope confronting first the gridlock of Washington. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true. And now the reality. You're fired. Of a rollback. In his exit interview with George Stephanopoulos, Obama insisted his legacy isn't all lost.
My hope is that the president-elect, members of Congress from both parties, look at where have we objectively made progress, where things are working better. Don't undo things just because I did them.
A few things he accomplished can't be taken away. First and foremost, just being America's first black president. He made history just by winning the election. The farther we get from his honeymoon, it's easy to forget that.
I grew up in the 70s. People thought that in our lifetime we would never see an African American as president. I have a daughter who's 13. I don't think she remembers anything but having an African American as our president.
Christian Champagne was a high school junior when he first met the president.
When he came into our band circle, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Obama paid a visit to Becoming a Man, a nonprofit support group helping to bridge the opportunity gap for young men in the Chicago public schools. In that circle, Champagne and Obama found they had something in common. They both grew up without fathers.
What does it mean to have a president who looks like you?
It would be more influential, someone you could look up to other than a sports star, you know, but having a president that's African-American and is from Chicago, it gives you a big sense that you can actually make it, that the American dream is true.
It's been a powerful symbol to have a black president, one that's long overdue. And yet, There's a sense out there that race relations are worse now than when he took office. What do you make of that?
I think
After my election, there was never realistic. Another accomplishment the history books are sure to include: killing America's #1 enemy.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
But critics would say you have to promise to turn the page from the Bush. Technically, he did. But we still have troops on the ground in both countries. American drones have killed thousands of people by remote control. The Gulag and Guantanamo sang from the heart in Charleston, now at the mercy of the man Obama felt free to openly mock just a few years ago. No one is happy.
Work of democracy forward. You'll soon outnumber all of us, and I believe as a result the future is in good hands.
Soon enough, we'll see if the new guy is offering change for the better. For better or worse, in our system, there are limits to how much any one man can do. Obama proved that too. I'm David Wright for Nightline in Chicago.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Trump doesn't know about Alibi's job pledge. Alibi founder Jack Ma's visits the Trump Tower this week wasn't just the latest example of foreign business leader cozying up to the president-elect. What can be learned by not shooting down a North Korean missile? Let's take a listen to this video from CNN. Oops, sorry about that.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is ramping up his rhetoric, using state media to threaten to test fire a long-range missile at any moment.
The intercontinental ballistic missile will be launched anytime and anywhere, determined by the Supreme Headquarters.
A U.S. intelligence official tells CNN to grab world attention, Kim Jong-un could time a provocation like a missile test to coincide with Donald Trump taking office, a missile capable of delivering a nuclear weapon to the U.S.
An intercontinental ballistic missile test launch preparation is in its last stage.
How close is Kim to having a deployable long-range missile? Analysts say gathering intelligence inside the secretive regime is difficult, and that Kim could have that ability now, or he could be maybe 3 years away. But U.S. officials and outside experts say there's a crucial part of that capability they believe the North Koreans haven't perfected yet.
What they haven't done is, all-up test, not only launch the missile, but then have it re-enter for an intercontinental range. Now, having said that, they have done some other things that cause us to worry. This, for instance, is an example of a ground test that kind of simulates the heat attached to reentry, using really another missile engine to burn up the reentry vehicle and approximate the stresses of reentry.
But as North Korea's technology advances, experts warn a dependable long-range missile in the hands of this violent, brash young leader would be a game changer. If and when he gets that capability, how aggressive would he then be?
Kim Jong-un is likely to be more aggressive with an ICBM than without it. The fear is not that Kim will use a nuclear weapon against us. The fear is that he will use conventional force, cyber force, and other provocations against us because he thinks we can do nothing about it.
What will President Trump's options be for countering that threat? Former Defense Secretary William Perry says if North Korea launches a test, the U.S. should consider shooting it down.
Certainly one of those actions could be disrupting the ICBM test in flight. That would have to be on the list.
Now, if North Korea actually fired a missile toward America or its allies, current Defense Secretary Ash Carter has just promised the U.S. forces would shoot it down. Experts say one reason the U.S. and its allies should maybe hesitate to hit North Korean missiles on the launch pads would be the threat of Kim's retaliation. He could possibly launch a massive conventional attack on South Korea's capital, Seoul, which one analyst describes as a sitting duck.
Okay, and they